Alright everybody, welcome back to a new video today. I'm going to talk about the new season of Love is Blind. I'm going to talk about the first 6 episodes. We are on season 9, by the way. Season 9 takes place in Denver. I knew Denver had some very weird people from my days interacting with Denver sports fans, but my goodness, this may be the weirdest cast we have ever seen. So let's run through them and what I think of everything so far. I have it on my phone in front of me because I can't remember these people. So the first couple we have that made it out to the vacation, well, I shouldn't even say that. We have Kacie and Patrick. Kacie is the very pretty blonde girl. She looks like Barbie. Patrick is the Asian man who was insecure about him being Asian. You know, he talked about how when he was growing up, there was all these stereotypes, and even as an adult, girls say, oh, you're good looking for an Asian guy, this, that, and the third, whatever. There was this moment in the pods where Kacie was asking him what he looked like or what nationality or ethnicity he was, whatever. And he was kind of hesitant. And instead of her, you know, having the emotional intelligence to realize, maybe I should go on to the next question or whatever, she just kept pressing him, and he said Asian. Instead of being like, oh, okay, she was like, oh. And that's kind of when you knew it wasn't going to work out between them. But they meet, the door's open, everything's good. It doesn't seem like anything's off at first, but then they fast forward to the next day or whatever, a few days after. Them in the hotel, I guess the women's hotel, and they showed the behind the scenes of her talking to the producers, or one of the producers, and she says she just can't do it anymore. Like, basically, she's attracted to Patrick, but not attracted to him enough to want to marry him, which is understandable. She pretty much admits, yeah, love isn't blind. So she tells Patrick, but the problem is Patrick doesn't really realize he's being broken up with. He's basically like, yeah, and he has like this bro voice. He's like, yeah, we don't have to go to Cancun or Baja, wherever the hell they're going. Yeah, we don't have to go on vacation. Just hit me up when you're back in Denver. And she's like, no, I can't do it. And he's like, yeah, no, it's fine. Like, he doesn't realize he's actually being broken up with. But at the same time, she's terrible at getting her point across because she keeps holding him and kissing him and telling him she loves him. And then to top that off, it's like a reenactment of like The Notebook or a movie. Like, she keeps thrusting, she jumps into his arms and kissing him goodbye. It's like in a rom-com or a romance movie where, you know, the woman's at the airport and she's saying goodbye and she leaves and then she comes back and like for another kiss, and it's like, you are sending this guy all the wrong signs. Like, I don't even think he knows he's being broken up with. So that was a disaster. We'll see what happens with that, I guess, at the reunion or when they all meet again later on after episode 6. So that's the first couple. The next one is, oh my goodness, Kalybriah and Edmond. Now, Edmond starts off as this guy. He starts off with his trauma and about how he was going through foster homes as a child. And so that was kind of sad, and he was emotional, opened up about that in the pods. Kalybriah, I don't really have a strong opinion about her. She seems like a nice girl, but all hell breaks loose when they get on the vacation afterwards because Edmond just turns into this like cracked out Urkel looking, he looks like he just walked off like a 90s sitcom, and he just crashes out when he realizes that after all the couples meet with each other that he was the only one to not get sex with his partner. And Kalybriah goes on to say, like, you know, the other girls, you know, they might not think of sex as something as sacred as I do, but in the same token, she kind of hints at how, well, she lets other people hit if it was like a one-night stand, but not for somebody important. And so Edmund's like, well, wait, you know, why can the guys who don't mean anything to you get sex, but I can't? And then he just puts on, I don't even want to say a performance, but it was genuinely one of the weirdest tantrums I've ever seen. And I couldn't tell if he was like doing it as a performance or what. And you know, initially I laughed at him, but then I just think this guy has some trauma from his childhood of not feeling wanted. So maybe that's it. But at the same time, I think it was like an emasculating thing for him because he didn't have a problem not getting sex. He had a problem not getting sex once he realized that all the other guys did. So it was like something they got that he didn't get. But that scene of them talking that was one of the best scenes in Love is Blind history. I mean, he just started having a tantrum. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't think they're going to get married. That's my prediction with that. Um, the next couple is Nick and Annie. Annie, I don't know how you say her name. Let's just say the elephant in the room. Nick is clearly either bisexual or gay, which is quite ironic considering the very stupid conversation they had in the pods about how being gay is like a fad, and they talked about it, what happens if your son or daughter were gay. And he came out and made like a TikTok or an Instagram video about how that was diced and spliced to make himself look bad, and I don't think he's lying, but there's something off with the guy. I think I mean, if you just trust your gaydar, it's what everyone's thinking. So we'll see if he addresses that. I'm surprised none of the other castmates have said it. They probably have said it behind closed doors. He's a very feminine guy, which is fine, but he just comes off as a gay guy to me. And that's why I found that conversation so weird. It sounded like he was projecting. I don't know. We'll see. But I don't know. I don't think they're going to get married either. Now, Allie and Anton, every season there's like a couple that starts off strong right away, and they're kind of like the first to meet, they know, like right off the bat. This was that couple. So far in Mexico, or on vacation, I don't know where they are, so I'm just going to say vacation. Everything seems fine with them. Now, they hinted in the preview that he kind of got mad at her later on because she was messy, and on her day she came out from work, she didn't do laundry, there's that or whatever. But so far, everything's good, so I'm going to say they have a chance to get married. I'll say yes for now. Nothing else really interesting with them. She's a nurse, he's Russian. The minute he heard she was Brazilian and her voice, it was like that. What else? Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan. Jordan is kind of like this good-looking but goofy guy, has tattoos all over himself, but the colored tattoos, which I don't think is a good look. If you're going to get the full sleeves, you got to get like the black ones, but that's beside the point. Sparkly Megan, I don't know what she does. She's like a business owner, but she's 33 and she's strong and independent. She seems to care about, her husband being in the same, maybe not being in the same tax bracket as her, but it's something she's cognizant of, and she's been insecure about being looked at a certain way because she made more money than her significant others in the past. She talked to the other guy. I don't even know what the other guy's name was. Was it Michael? I don't even know what his name was. The other guy that was 37 years old in the pods. She was thinking of accepting a proposal from him, but ultimately she decided to go with Jordan. And obviously she keeps connecting the dots between her dad dying of diabetes or having diabetes and Jordan's son having diabetes. I think that's them, and I hate to break it to him, but that's not a sign from God. It's just a coincidence. But if I really hope that's not the reason she picked them, because that would be truly stupid. So we'll see what happens with them. She got the ick during the bar scene with when Jordan and Joe, who's also very immature, I'll get to him in a second, were flirting with each other when they were drunk. They just got hammered, and he started to act like a child, and she got the ick. That was that. All right, Madison and Joe. Joe is like a young, good-looking guy. I don't know what he does for work, but he's immature. Now, Madison, a good-looking girl, but she's a little more on the heavier side. And when he saw her walk through the doors, he was attracted to her, but in his first interview, he kind of sat down and said, in the past, my type has typically been thinner girls. And I think the phrase he used to describe Madison was she has a larger physique, I believe he said. So she's not going to like that on the watch back, but I can tell you they're not together because he immediately starts to self-sabotage the relationship by just getting blacked out drunk and just pissing her off in every way possible, leaving the party at the bar early. She tries to help him and be attentive to him. When he's waking up from a nap and he's just kind of like, what's going on? Just like playing stupid and just pissing her off on purpose because he's too much of a coward to actually break up with her. So they're not going to last, is my prediction. I'll be surprised if they showed a preview and it looks like he doesn't even show up to the wedding or he leaves early, so we'll see, but that's a disaster waiting to happen. And then, is there any other couples? I'm trying to think if I missed one. I think that's it for now. Yeah, that's it for the couples that are together. Now we had the two people leave. Anna, which is the Asian woman, she left. She had a connection with Michael, I believe, the other Asian guy that was with Kacie, Patrick. She had a relationship with Patrick, So we'll see if they reconnect. And then Blake was the other one who left early. We'll see what happens when they pop back up. But so far, a very entertaining start to the season. These people are very bizarre. I'm interested to see their families and what happens when they get back to the apartments. But if I had to guess, the only people who I think have a shot of getting married are maybe Jordan and Megan, and who else? Anton and Allie. That's about it. And even then, I don't know. Usually, every season there's at least one where you look at and you think, yeah, they're a definite yes. But this season is rough. But it has been entertaining to say the least. And I will be back with a recap when the next episodes drop. But I think it's tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next time.